Hey guys, MediaNutso here, and welcome to the very first edition of Learning League Tuesdays. Now, first off, I want to apologize for the nearly hour-long delay. Long story short, my laptop kind of slowed down on me again, and I had to wait for it to settle down. It's kind of crazy the world worn down the RAM god. But enough about them. Before we get started on this week's featured lessons, I probably should explain why I moved the streams from Saturdays and Sundays to Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Now, I already explained this in the community tab. But for those of you that missed it, the reason is because I wanted to free up the weekend for the major uploads. So that every Saturday, date will be the new upload of the next part of the Clue Finders look back or any one-off videos that I might do. Or in case I don't get that on Sundays. Plus I wanted to kind of spice up the weekdays a bit. So with all that out of the way, to kick off our first loop, I'm decided to do something. What we're going to do is each week, we're going to start with the first 5 lessons in each category. This week will be science. Then the next week will be math. Then language arts on week 3. Then language arts on the 3rd week, and life skills on the 4th, and so on and so forth. So with all that out of the way, let's get things started with our very first lesson up for tonight, which just so happens to be the very first lesson ever produced for the Learning League, which is the lunar cycle.
Are you excited about the Pokemon contest?
You bet. I can't wait until we get there. Skitty's going to be great.
Well, we still have a ways to go before we get there.
I know. And the sun's about to set. I hope we don't have to walk the rest of the way in the dark.
I wouldn't worry about that, May. I bet the moon will shine brightly enough to light our way.
How can you be sure? Some nights there's a lot of moonlight. Other nights you can hardly see it.
That's true. And some nights you can't see the moon at all.
I wonder if there is a way to know for sure if the moon will be out.
Sierra at the Learning League lab would know. Let's give her a call on the Pokepilot. Hey, Sierra, can you help us out?
Sure thing, Ash. What do you need?
We're trying to figure out if the moon will be out tonight.
Is there a way to tell?
Sure there is.
Why does it shine?
Actually, it doesn't.
What are you talking about? Of course it does.
We might call it moonlight, but the light doesn't actually come from the moon.
Then where does it come from?
The sun.
What? That doesn't make sense. Does it?
Lots of things reflect light. That means when light shines down on them, it bounces off. That's what happens with the moon. Sunlight shines on the moon, and the moon reflects that light down to Earth. So, moonlight is actually sunlight reflected by the moon. The only reason we can see the moon in the sky is because it reflects light from the sun. Well, sometimes the moon is a big circle in the sky, almost like a giant pizza. Other times, it's just a slice.
A pretty weird-looking slice.
Okay, maybe it doesn't look exactly like a slice of pizza, but you guys know what I mean. I'm talking about the different phases of the moon. The lunar cycle.
Lunar? Why don't we just call it the moon cycle?
Well, you're right. Lunar means something that involves the moon. So, you already know the moon looks different almost every night. That happens because the moon is always moving.
Where does it go?
It travels around Earth. The path it takes is called the moon's orbit.
Does the moon change shape as it travels?
Well, the moon doesn't actually change. It just looks like it does. As the moon moves, It can block sunlight, so we see less and less of it, or more and more of it as it stops blocking sunlight.
And this is what you call the lunar cycle, right?
You got it. Let's take it step by step. At the beginning of the lunar cycle, the moon is in between the sun and Earth. When it's in that spot, the moon blocks sunlight instead of reflecting it. It's blocking sunlight, so it would look dark. We can't see it. This first phase, or change, is called the new moon.
But the moon doesn't stay in that one spot. It keeps moving.
Yep. A few nights later, the moon has moved enough to reflect a little light.
That's when it looks like that weird slice of pizza.
Ha! Right! You guys catch on quick. And that phase is called the crescent moon.
Let me guess what happens next. As the moon keeps moving, we see more and more of it.
Exactly. The moon looks like it's growing in the sky. That's called waxing. The moon keeps waxing as it keeps moving. Eventually, it moves behind Earth. Now, it's Earth that's between the moon and the sun. In that spot, the moon reflects a lot of light, and we can see all of one side. That's called the full moon.
How long before that happens?
It takes about 2 weeks from the new moon to the full moon. In this case, what grows bright must grow dark. As the moon continues its orbit, it moves from the light back into the dark. Now, the moon isn't waxing, it's shrinking or waning.
I bet I know what happens next. Back to that weird pizza slice.
Uh-huh. It's a crescent moon again. Before you know it, the moon has moved back to that first spot between the sun and Earth. It completely blocks sunlight. So it's a new moon again. And the whole thing starts all over again.
So that's why it's called a cycle? Because it repeats?
Exactly. It takes 29 days for the moon to complete its orbit. That's almost a month, which is why we see a full moon every month or so. Then it starts all over from the beginning. Hey, we've got a great activity here at the lab that we use to help us figure out moonlight.
Why don't you try it? Click next.
Yeah, it's kind of silly to have
Are
them
you
being
excited about the Pokemon contest?
You bet. I can't wait until we get there. Skitty's going to...
Use your mouse to see the moon move through its orbit.
Anyway, let me continue. As I was saying, it's kind of silly that the characters were in the dark about the lunar cycle when it's just about the most basically common knowledge. And also, that whole describing the phases as that weird slice of pizza is pretty ridiculous. But enough about that.
See if you can match each phase of the moon with the picture. That's right. The moon is between the sun and Earth. It blocks sunlight so we can't see it. That's right. The moon has moved away from the sun and reflects a little light. That's right. The moon is behind Earth and reflects a lot of light. That's right. The moon is starting to block sunlight, so it seems to shrink in the sky. Use your mouse to see the moon move through it. See if you can put these 6 phases of the moon in the right order. Drag each phase of the moon to its correct order in the... See if you can put these 6 phases of the moon in the right order. if you can put these 6 phases of the moon in the right order. Drag each phase of the moon to its correct order in the spots 1 through 6. See if you can put these 6 phases of the moon in the right order. See if you can put these 6 phases of the moon in the right order. See if you can put these 6 phases of the moon in the right order. So now you know all about the lunar cycle.
Great! Thanks for your help. See you later.
See you. Bye.
So what do you think? Will we have a full moon tonight?
Let's see. It's been growing in the sky.
It's been waxing.
That must mean we'll have a full moon tonight, and we should have enough light to follow the road.
All right, let's get moving.
Come on, guys. Let's go.
As I've said countless times, that was pretty corny, but what do you expect back from the first lesson? Then it's all well, but anyways, time to move on. Boom. Sorry about that. It's time to move on to lesson number 2. Where we'll be taking a look at the smallest object in the known universe, the atom.
I can't wait for my next battle. It's gonna be awesome.
Pikachu!
Are we there yet?
We just left.
I just can't wait. But, if we have a long way to go, did you pack any snacks?
Yes.
Awesome! Let's take a break and eat.
Later. You can't possibly be hungry already. Didn't you eat before we left?
Yeah, but...
We can stop once we get to the gym. Hey, what's that?
Where's it coming from?
Pikachu!
Okay, show us.
Look, it's Plusle and Minun.
What is it?
Where?
Where?
I don't see any. Oh, wait!
What is it?
I think it's a mushroom.
It's so small. I think it's the smallest thing I've ever seen. I think it's the smallest thing ever.
It can't be the smallest thing ever.
Why not?
I mean, it's got to be made up of pieces of something smaller, doesn't it?
This looks like one tiny mushroom. I don't see any pieces.
Just because we don't see something doesn't mean it isn't there. Or something like that.
Let's ask Ciara. I bet she'll know about this.
Hey there, what's up?
Look what Plusle and Minun found.
Wow, that's one tiny mushroom.
Is that the smallest thing you've ever seen?
Or are there smaller things we can't see?
Well,
That's very small, but there's something smaller than that mushroom. An atom. Atoms are the building blocks of everything you see. Trees, rocks, water, even you, all start with atoms.
so everything is just a combination of atoms?
Well, atoms form elements, materials like oxygen, silver, iron, or carbon. Everything is made up of elements or combinations of elements, and elements are made up of only one kind of atom.
I don't see any atoms.
They are way, way too small to be seen. They're much smaller than that mushroom.
How small?
Imagine this. If you had 50 million atoms lined up together, they would reach only about a centimeter.
50 million? Now I know why we can't see them.
Then how do we know they're there?
It takes some pretty powerful equipment, but scientists can see them. They can even see inside of them.
Inside them? If everything is made of atoms, then what's an atom made of?
Let's take a look. The center of the atom is called the nucleus. The nucleus is only a tiny part of the atom, but it's the part with the greatest mass. The nucleus makes up almost all the mass of the atom.
It's like the nucleus is in the center of a bubble. What are those pieces inside the nucleus?
The nucleus is made up of two types of particles or pieces. Protons have a positive electric charge. Neutrons have no charge.
Got it. P for positive and proton.
And neutrons sound like neutral. No charge.
Yeah.
How many are there?
The nucleus of an atom can be made up of different combinations of protons and neutrons. But you can find out the number of protons in the nucleus of one atom of a particular element by looking at the atomic number.
So if they have different numbers of protons and neutrons, do atoms come in different sizes?
You'd think so, but even though atoms can have different atomic numbers, they're all still about the same size.
But what are those things moving around the atom?
Those are electrons. They have a negative charge. They move around the atom so fast that they create a cloud around the atom.
They can really go!
The protons and electrons in an atom determine its charge. So let's think about it. If an atom has more protons than electrons, its charge would be...
Positive!
And if an atom has more electrons than protons, its charge would be negative.
Yes, but what if an atom has the same number of protons and electrons?
Neither?
Right, they cancel each other out, and that's called a neutral atom.
So I see, everything starts with atoms, even this little tiny mushroom. I want to take a closer look. How about you?
Let's investigate this atom. Which word means the center of the atom? Click on the answer. Right, the nucleus is the center of the atom. Which particle in an atom has a positive charge? Click on the answer. You got it. A proton has a positive charge. Click on a proton in the diagram. Exactly. The plus sign shows the proton's positive charge. Which particle has no charge? Click on... That's it. A neutron has no charge. Click on a neutron in the diagram. Exactly. Which particle has a negative charge? Click on the right answer. That's it. An electron has a negative charge. Click on an electron in the diagram. Exactly. The minus sign shows the electron's negative charge. What's the atomic number for this atom? Click on the right answer. Awesome! The atomic number is the number of protons in the nucleus of an atom. Now, what is the charge of this atom? You got it! The number of protons with positive charges and electrons with negative charges are the same for this atom, so the charge is neutral. You sure know a lot about atoms now. Let's see if you can build one. Here's everything you need. Start by adding protons. Drag as many protons as you want your atom to have into the correct place. Click on the check button when you're finished. Try again. Now drag neutrons into place. Click on the check button when you're finished. Try again. Now drag electrons into place. Click on the check button when you're finished. Let's label your atom. Click and drag these labels into place. What's the atomic number for your atom? Enter it in the box. Try again. Try again. Now what's the charge of this atom?
So, protons, neutrons, and electrons are somewhere in this mushroom.
And just think, the same things it takes to make a mushroom can, well, make me.
Hey, how many atoms do you think are in the food you packed?
Oh,
I think we better look at them closer, right?
If you want to eat everything now, then just say it.
Okay, Let's see what we have. Here's a sandwich. I'm guessing this has about 300 bazillion atoms. And this apple probably has 800 chameleon atoms. And...
All right, we've got it. Atoms are everywhere.
And they taste pretty good, too.
Here's everything you need. Start by adding protons. Drag as many protons as you want your atom to have into the correct place. Click on the check button when you're finished. Now drag neutrons into place. Click on the check button when you're finished. Try again. Now drag electrons into place. Click on the check button when you're finished. Let's label your atom. Click and drag these labels into place. Let's label your atom. Click and drag these labels. What's the atomic number for your atom? Enter it in the box.
Okay, this is an odd glitch that I've stumbled upon.
So, protons, neutrons, and electrons are somewhere in this mushroom.
Awesome! And just think, the same things it takes to make a mushroom can, well, make me.
Hey, how many atoms do you think are in the food you packed?
Oh,
I think we better look at them closer, right?
If you want to eat everything now, then just say it.
Okay, Let's see what we have. Here's a sandwich. I'm guessing this has about 300 bazillion atoms. And this apple probably has 800 chameleon atoms. And...
All right, we've got it. Atoms are everywhere.
And they taste pretty good, too.
Well, looks like I learned a thing or two after that first stumble. Oh, but hey, everyone, we all make mistakes. But it's time to move on to lesson number 3. And wouldn't you know it, we're moving on from learning about the smallest little thing to the biggest little thing in our solar system, which is, you guessed it, the sun.
These tall trees make this forest so dark. I hope we don't have much further to go.
It's not just the trees. Look at the sky. Well, I mean, what sky we can see. It's cloudy out anyway.
It's kinda chilly, don't you think? Maybe the sun'll come out.
Maybe, but I don't know how much it will help in here.
I'll take what I can get. Even a little bit of sun would be better than this.
Pikachu.
Hey, what's that?
MediaNutso! 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 Blossom! But I'm not sure what they're doing.
I'll find out. Let me check the Pokedex.
Blossom, the flower Pokemon. Blossom often live in areas with plenty of sunlight. Blossom dance together for their petals to absorb this light.
Look, the sun is coming out.
Well, that's a nice coincidence.
The blossoms sure seem to be happy that the sun is shining. They're really dancing now.
I feel a lot better now, too. Look how bright it is.
And warm.
What is the sun, anyway? It's like this gigantic light bulb up in the sky.
I know. Just look how it changed our gloomy day around.
And I think it's even more important than just that. I think Ciara would know.
Yeah, let's call Ciara.
Hi there. Wow, that's some forest you're in.
I know. And we're lucky it just got sunny out. It was really dark and kind of chilly earlier.
That's exactly why we wanted to talk to you, since we were wondering about the sun. It sure seems pretty important, right?
Well, we have a sun like yours, and that shouldn't be a surprise. After all, on a clear night, you can see thousands of suns.
What do you mean?
The sun is a star.
But stars are tiny little points of light in the sky. The sun is big and warm and sunny.
That's because it is so close. My sun is only 93 million miles away from Earth.
Only? That sounds pretty far to me.
Think of it this way. The next closest star to Earth is 20 trillion miles away.
That is far.
It all depends where you're looking from. If I was on one of the farther away planets, like Neptune, the sun would look smaller to me.
So the sun is not that big after all?
The sun is huge. It's about 860,000 miles across. That's about 100 times bigger than the Earth. Gravity is the force that attracts objects to each other. Bigger objects have a stronger force of gravity than smaller objects. The big sun tugs on the smaller Earth and keeps it orbiting around the sun. The same thing goes for the other planets in the solar system.
So our sun probably is a lot like yours. What would it be like if there wasn't a sun?
The planets would just float around in space. They'd be dark and cold. All the light and all the warmth we feel comes from the sun. Even moonlight comes from the sun.
How's that possible? It's moonlight.
The moon orbits around Earth. When it's in certain positions between Earth and the sun, the light from the sun bounces off the moon and reflects onto the Earth. It looks like the moon is producing light, but it's really just rays from the sun. The sun is always on. When the sky is dark, that's not because the sun has less light or has disappeared. It just means that the place on Earth where you are has turned away from the sun for a while.
How does it make all this light?
The sun is a gigantic ball of plasma composed of mostly hydrogen and helium gases. The center of it is called its core. In the core, different gases react with each other at extremely high temperatures, up to about 27 million degrees Fahrenheit. The energy created by these reactions in the sun's core is the energy that makes light and heat for the planets that surround the sun. The closer a planet is to the sun, the hotter and brighter it is.
So the farther planets are darker and much colder?
You got it.
So is the core of the sun what we see up in the sky?
Well, first, make sure you never look directly at the sun. But actually, the sun is made up of several layers of gases, and the core is way hidden by them. We actually only see one part of the sun. It's a layer called the photosphere. Its temperature is about 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit.
I guess that's a little bit better than 27 million degrees at the core, but,
You still wouldn't want to be there. Of course, you can usually find some sort of cool spots on the sun. Sunspots are dark spots where the temperatures are a little bit lower than other parts of the photosphere. Only about 6,300 degrees Fahrenheit.
Pee-ka-pee!
I know, that still is way too hot. Now there is another layer of the sun. The corona is the outer atmosphere of the sun, and it is much hotter than the photosphere. It can be about 3.6 million degrees Fahrenheit. But most of the time, we can't even see the corona.
When can you see it?
You can see the corona during a solar eclipse. That's when the moon passes between the Earth and the sun during the day. Then, most of the sun is covered by the shadow of the moon, but we can see the corona floating around the moon.
awesome.
But be careful. If you hear there's going to be a solar eclipse, never look directly up into the sky. You can cause serious damage to your eyes.
There's a lot to the sun. Let's see if we got it all. Come on and help us.
Answer questions to make the sun appear in the sky. What is the sun? Click on the correct answer. That's right. The sun is a star. It just looks different to us because it's closer than any of the stars we see at night. What is the sun primarily composed of? Click on the right answer. You've got it. Burning gases react with each other to create the light and energy we feel on Earth. The sun itself is neither a solid nor a gas, but called a plasma. What force holds the Earth in orbit around the sun? Click on the right answer. Awesome! Gravity is the force that attracts objects to each other. The sun has a stronger force of gravity than the Earth because it is so much bigger. What is the hottest part of the sun? Click on the right answer. Excellent! The core is where all the action takes place. It can be up to 27 million degrees Fahrenheit. What is the part of the sun that we can see? Click on the right answer. That's it. What we see in the sky is the layer of gas called the photosphere. What part or parts of the sun are only visible during a solar eclipse? Click on the right answer. Great job! The corona is the sun's outer atmosphere. We can only see it during eclipses. What parts of the sun are cooler than the rest? Click on the right answer. You've got it! Sunspots are cooler spots on the sun. Their lower temperature makes them dark and makes them stand out. What blocks the sun's rays from the Earth during a solar eclipse? Absolutely! During a solar eclipse, the moon passes between the sun and Earth during the day, blocking the sun's rays from the Earth. That was awesome! Now, how about a bigger challenge? I think you're up for it. Click and drag the labels onto the correct parts of the sun. Click and drag the labels onto the correct parts of the sun. Click and drag the labels onto the correct parts of the sun. Click and drag the labels onto the correct parts of the sun. Click on the hottest part of the sun. Click on the coolest part of the sun. That's coolest temperature-wise. Click on the part of the sun that we can see in the sky. Click on the part of the sun we only see during an eclipse. Which has the strongest force of gravity? The sun, the moon, or the earth? Click on the right answer. Which object is the sun most like? The moon, earth, or stars? Click on the right answer. Which object or objects do not create any light or energy? Click on your answers, then click the check mark.
Wow, those blossoms sure look happy.
I guess the sun makes all of us happy.
It should. We get all our light and energy from the sun. Without the sun, there wouldn't be any living things on our planets.
Speaking of light, let's go through the rest of the forest while we've got sunlight on our side.
All right. Bye, Ciara.
Bye.
Bye. Keep warm.
Hey, what's that?
Look! Pikachu! Pikachu!
Nice try, but I think you should leave it up to the blossom.
Yeah. Come on, let's go.
Well, cute ending. Well, but seriously, that was definitely a much more fun lesson. Well, anyways, right now it's time for us to take a little water break. Right. Don't worry, it won't be a long one. Right? So just stick around and I'll be right back.
Here's a picture of...
Okay.
In the box that says Heredity, drag and drop the physical characteristics. Then, drag dominant traits into the... In the box that says... Here's a picture of our friend Quinn.
Hey, and we're back. Now it's time for lesson number 4. Well, you ever wonder why you woke up? Now, what? It's time for us to learn along with Max and May about why we adopted some of our parents' truth from Bates through her. That was a bad introduction. Well, you know what? Let us learn with Mom, Max, and Mom. Hey, and learn a thing or two about her heredity along with Max and May. Again, bad lead-in, but what are you gonna do?
Can't wait to see Mom and Dad back in Petalburg City.
Dad's really excited about the surprise birthday party he's throwing Mom.
And she'll be extra surprised to see us.
Hey, look! Here comes Nurse Joy.
Hi, May. Hi, Max. It's so good to see you two again.
You too, Nurse Joy.
My goodness, May. You look more like your mother, Caroline, every day.
Thank you.
And you certainly have your father's eyes, Max.
Thanks, I guess.
I'll see you at the surprise party. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Nurse Joy. What was she talking about? I have Dad's eyes?
Well, they do look like his. and she said that I look like Mom.
You do kind of look like Mom. It's weird, huh? Why don't you have Dad's eyes? You're my sister, after all.
Well, kids do look like their parents in some ways. Maybe Ciara knows about this.
Hi, May. Hi, Max. What's up?
May and I just ran into Nurse Joy on our way to Petalburg City.
She said all this stuff about how we look like our parents.
Like I have my dad's eyes.
Oh, sure. We all resemble our parents in some ways because certain characteristics are passed from parents to their kids, or offspring. Your eyes look like your dad's because of heredity. Heredity is when a parent transfers a characteristic like eye color or hair color through genes.
Like the kind you wear? But my dad's taller than me, at least for now.
Not exactly, Max. A different type of genes. Genes. Genes are inside us and are like instruction manuals for our bodies to operate. They can determine eye, hair, even impact the way you walk.
So do we have a couple that tell our bodies what to do?
A couple? We have 25,000 to 35,000 genes in our body. Genes come in pairs and are made up of proteins that help build our body. They also have special jobs to do, like determining your eye color, your hair, or even how you'll laugh. Genes line up together like threads to create chromosomes. Chromosomes also come in pairs. All genes and chromosomes contain deoxyribonucleic acid.
Deoxy what?
Deoxyribonucleic acid. That's DNA. Everyone has DNA. It tells us what our bodies are made up of and what we'll look like. All living things have DNA and pass on physical characteristics to their offspring through genes. For example, a yellow flower can pass on its color to its offspring.
But how did my dad pass his eyes on to me?
Remember when I said all genes come in pairs? That means that every parent has 2 copies of each of their genes, but their kids only get 1 copy from each parent. So for things like eye color, hair texture, and everything else about us, you get 1 gene from your mom and 1 from your dad.
So how did I get brown eyes and May get blue if we have the same parents?
That's because one of the genes your parents passes down will be dominant. So even if Max got a gene for blue eyes from his mom and a brown one from his dad, he's still got brown eyes. The brown-eyed gene is dominant. Now for May's blue eyes, your dad must have had his own recessive gene for blue eyes. But the gene he got from his own parent for brown eyes masked that blue one.
So Dad must have passed on the recessive gene to me, just like Mom did.
Wow, so that means you can tell a lot from heredity. Like how tall we'll be? Since May and my dad are both tall but my mom is short, does that mean the tall gene is probably dominant?
Keep in mind that other factors, like your environment or even your diet, can influence some physical characteristics, like your height. But as far as what you got from your parents, you're right, the tall gene is dominant. Other dominant traits are curly hair, dimples, freckles, brown eyes, and brown hair.
So recessive genes would be straight hair and being short?
Right. Other recessive genes are red and blonde hair, straight hair, being short, green eyes, blue eyes, no dimples, and no freckles.
So did I pick out this outfit because of my heredity, too?
That has more to do with your environment, May. Heredity only determines physical characteristics like hair texture and skin color. You might have gotten some style and fashion know-how from hanging out with your parents, but that's not your heredity.
So you have no one to blame but yourself, May.
Very funny, Max.
So things like our noses and hands are physical characteristics we get through heredity.
But what about having glasses?
Yes, May. Eyesight is a physical characteristic and can be passed on through heredity.
Yeah, and what about ears, feet, mouths, and even teeth?
Hey, you guys are good at this. Why don't you try out those skills?
Count us in.
Here's a picture of our friend Quinn. In the box that says heredity, drag and drop his different physical characteristics you think are caused by heredity.
Cool! Can you help us choose Quinn's hereditary characteristics?
In the box that says heredity, drag and drop his different physical characteristics. Good job! The shape and color of Quinn's chin is based on heredity. That's right. Eye color is a hereditary characteristic. Good job. A person's nose is determined by one of their parents' genes. You got it. Hands are a physical characteristic and are part of Quinn's heredity. Good job. Hair color and hair texture are determined by heredity. That's right. Ears are determined by heredity. You got it. Quinn's mouth is part of his heredity. Now, how about those dominant and recessive traits? Click on the traits you think are dominant. That's right. Brown hair is a dominant trait. That's right. Curly hair is a dominant trait. You got it. Brown eyes are a dominant trait. You got it. Being tall is a dominant trait. That's right. Dimples are a dominant trait. Good job. Freckles are a dominant trait.
Cool! I want to figure out more about our own heredity, don't you, Max?
Yeah! Can you help us determine our heredity through our physical characteristics?
Here's in the box that says heredity, drag and drop the physical characteristics. Then, drag dominant traits into the dominant box and recessive traits into the recessive box. Ready? Go for it! You got it! Excellent! You're right. That's a dominant trait. You're right. That's a dominant trait. You got it. That's a recessive trait. You got it. That's a recessive trait. Excellent. You're right. That's a dominant trait. You got it. That's a recessive trait. You got it. That's a recessive trait. You got it. You're right. That's a dominant trait. You got it. That's a recessive trait. You got it. You got it. You got it. You got it. You're right. That's a dominant trait. You're right. That's a dominant trait. You got it. That's a recessive trait. You got it.
Awesome! I can't wait to get home to see what else Mom and Dad might have passed on to us through heredity.
I hope I got Dad's incredible training skills and speed.
I'm faster than you are, Max. If anyone got Dad's speed, it's me.
Oh, yeah?
Hey! Wait up!
Nothing to say about that. That was just another fun one. But now it is time to wind down with lesson number 5, where we, along with Tracy, learn about how plants can make their own food through photosynthesis.
Professor Oak's berry bushes! I can't believe it! There isn't a single berry left! Snorlax ate them all! Man, it was hungry! But what about all the other Pokemon that like orange berries? I guess I'll just have to plant some more. The faster they grow, the better. I wonder what I'll need to make the berry bushes grow. I want to make sure I'm planting them right. I bet Ciara could give me a few pointers. I'm gonna give her a call.
Hey, Tracy.
Hey, Ciara!
Whoa, what was that?
Oh, just Snorlax. It's sleeping in the berry bushes.
I don't see any berries on those bushes.
That's because it ate them all. And that's why I'm calling you.
Okay, what can I do for you?
I'm going to plant some more berry bushes. But since it's Professor Oak's garden, I want to do a good job. Give the plants everything they need to grow.
Oh, yeah. Well, I can definitely help you out there. Plants make their food.
Oh, cool. Plants feed themselves. I don't need to worry.
Well, yes, they make their own food through a process called photosynthesis. But like any food we eat, it's got to have the right ingredients in the recipe. And the recipe for plant food is plenty of sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water.
But how do you feed a plant sunlight?
In every plant cell, there is chlorophyll. Chlorophyll absorbs the energy in the sunlight to power making food from the carbon dioxide and water.
Where does it get the water from? When it rains or someone waters it?
Right. So when it rains, a plant soaks up water from the ground through its roots. The water is then carried up through the stem to the leaves. Now, the leaves breathe in carbon dioxide through tiny holes called stomata. At that point, the chlorophyll in the leaves takes over, using the energy from sunlight to turn carbon dioxide and water into plant food and oxygen.
Wow, so chlorophyll are like kitchens for plants.
I guess you could look at it that way. It's also what makes the plant green.
Whoa, I wish I had chlorophyll making my food. Green is definitely my color.
Well, chlorophyll is only found in plants, but it already makes something very important for us all.
Well, I eat lots of green vegetables.
And you also breathe in oxygen or air.
I love fresh oxygen.
You have plants to thank for it. When the plant takes in carbon dioxide and water, the sunlight converts them into sugar for the plant. It also releases oxygen.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that's why planting trees is good for the environment and you.
Wow, I better get to planting. I want to do my part. But I'm going to need your help. Let's show them how it's done. Okay, here are all the elements of photosynthesis. Will you help me put the cycle together? Click and drag the right elements into the right blanks, so it'll tell the process of photosynthesis. You can use each element more than once, and for each correct answer, I'll plant a berry bush. Plants need blank, blank, and blank to make food through photosynthesis. Click and drag the right elements into the blanks.
All right. Sunlight is the energy that powers photosynthesis. Try again. Yes, plants definitely need water for photosynthesis. All right. Plants take in carbon from the air.
Water is carried up from the blank through the blank to the leaves.
Oh, yeah. Water travels through the roots and stem to get to the leaves.
Carbon dioxide is absorbed through the blank.
You got it. The stomata in the leaves absorb carbon dioxide.
Plants use blank to power the process of photosynthesis.
That's right. Sunlight provides the energy for photosynthesis.
Blank in the plant cell absorbs sunlight.
Awesome. Chlorophyll in the leaves absorbs sunlight.
Photosynthesis makes blank as well as blank.
Right on. Photosynthesis makes sugar for the plant and oxygen for the atmosphere.
Wahoo! We did it! That's the process of photosynthesis for you.
I think you got it down.
Yeah, down to the ground. Just like these berry bushes I just planted.
Mm-hmm. Now that you know what they need to feed, you're ready to raise the roots.
Definitely. Thanks for all your help, Ciara.
Anytime. Talk to you later.
Okay, bye-bye. Okay.
Match it up. Click and drag the vocabulary word into the bush with the right definition. Awesome. Match it up. Awesome. Match it up. Excellent. Match it up. You got it. Match it up. Awesome. Match it up. Click and drag the vocabulary word into the bush with the right definition. Nice work. Match it up. Nice work. Match it up. Excellent. Match it up. Awesome. Match it up. Excellent.
Awesome! Look at how much they've grown. Okay, buddy. You can have some of the berries. Photosynthesis doesn't just make food for the plant. Looks like it also makes a very good meal for Snorlax.
And yeah, I'd say that's a good way to wrap up our first Learning Week Tuesday. Well, anywho, I hope you all enjoy them, and that you'll get used to these days. Wait, next Tuesday we'll be tackling the first 5 lessons in the math category, and tomorrow, for Humongous Entertainment Wednesdays, we'll be diving back into the first entries of each of the Junior Adventures. Well, until tomorrow, this is MediaNutso saying, I'll see you next time.